So we've gotten our special tool we need here. It's the Lyle 77080 harmonic balancer socket. This is just a very thick 19mm, and this will hopefully bust our crank bolt right off, and you'll find out with me on camera how she works. So look at that, just a very thick 19mm socket, and yeah, like 3 times the size of a normal one. Shove that on there. I have this Mastercraft electric impact. I'm not sure what they're rated for, but pretty sure it's the strongest one I got in here. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a blast. Let's not dilly-dally, just give her a shot. And God, I hope this works. Spinning, so definitely more mass than the other one. Alright, might need to do something to hold this. Yeah, too much mass. Alright. Gonna strap this down and I'll be right back. Alright, so we just ratchet strap this down to here, so hopefully it's enough to not move, because my issue is that the engine's already out, it's on a stand, everything's taken apart, and there's no pistons in it. It's literally just the crank sitting in the block. So, not much I can do for leverage. Come on. And there she is! Awesome! That's fine, the bolt just rolled away, as long as we don't lose the thing in there. Awesome. Perfect. So yeah, this socket, $40 on Amazon, in Canada at least. It worked. I mean, I really didn't try fucking around with this too much because I knew I was going to need a special tool. Tried with a breaker bar and it's useless. Literally, just, this is bare. This is the worst case scenario where it's just the crank and nothing else to hold it in. Bare block. And all I needed was that thick ass socket and any decent impact. Busted it right off. Alrighty, so now that that is off, let me try and show you here what it looks like inside. So we just busted our nut, and now we've got this. So you just have to be careful of the keyway there. I think that's the right term. No, what's it? Woodruff key? I think that's what they call it, Woodruff key. Don't lose that. And we're gonna go ahead and try and pull this off. Hopefully I don't need a special tool to pull the crank off. Okay, so I probably am gonna need a special tool. I'm kind of just looking around to see what I have in terms of pullers here, because obviously this doesn't just pull straight off, so I'll get back to you once I find out my method for removing this, because I have some pullers, but the thing in the middle is not long enough, and this doesn't have the bolts on it, so you could just attach it here and pull, you know. So, we'll figure it out. Alright guys, so I just put this back on so I could show you what I did here. I believe that I am, if not the king of innovation and using the wrong tools for the job, I'm pretty damn close to it. So what I got here is a spring compressor, and I just decided to clamp it on the sides, and I'm not too worried about ruining these ribs because this one here is for AC, which I'm never gonna have in this car, although I don't think it damaged it at all. So I just clamped both things here. I guess I'll show you real quick. Just clamped it around like that, made it nice and tight, and my pulley probably wasn't on there too strong because I literally grabbed each side, gave it a good wiggle like that, and bam, she's off. Oop. Dump the rust out of there, yummy yummy. Now what you want to make sure of is you don't lose your Woodruff key. Shit, mine is actually in there pretty strong. But it's this little square right there. Yeah, make sure that doesn't fall out and get lost. Cool. So now that we have this off, remove our timing cover, show you how gunky it is behind there. We're gonna clean this up. You know the drill. Let's fucking get to it. Alright, so we got the timing cover off now. Almost fell into the engine block. Got the timing cover off. We had to use one of these extractors to get off the small 10 millimeters because they're very rusty and old in there. But it kind of sucks that they're like a specialty bolt, so we'll have to reuse them. But anyway, got those off. Now this is off. Here you can see just how much gunk and crap is under there. So definitely need seals replaced, and we're going to be doing all that while we're in here. So I'm going to go ahead, take off our crank sensor, because this is American model B-Series engine, so it does have one, even though there's a super easy way to bypass it. But we're going to keep it in there because we have it. So we're going to remove the sensor. Let's take off all the accessories, water pump. The oil pump is going to be getting replaced, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, but I'm gonna clean this and probably paint over it while it's here, and then so that these bits in here can look nice. You know, a water pump will be replaced, oil pump will be replaced. Same with our tensioner. Yeah. All right, so now that we've got pretty much everything off of the front of the engine block here, gone ahead and taped off the top and the water pump port. And we're gonna go ahead and clean it up, degrease it, and then put some paint on it. So after a lot of scrubbing and whatnot, we've kind of got rid of the built-up carbon here. The front of this needs to be kind of repainted. But here we've got a lot of that gunk off. This looks much better already. Most of this is going to be hidden, and like this is all part of the oil pump, which will be replaced. So I'm not going to bother with painting anything here. You know, it looks nice and clean and silver enough in color. when the timing cover is going to be, you know what I'm getting at. This is all going to be blocked, so I'm not going to bother with that. Probably spray this down and do a coat of paint there. And then the only other thing is the back of this needs to be degreased and cleaned. And obviously there's a cover in there that needs to come off before the crank comes out. So probably gonna wind up having to take this off of the stand temporarily when I do that. Bearings and pistons and rods and all that, not rods, but everything but the rods are ordered because we're gonna be reusing the stock ones and they're on their way. So once they're there, we can put everything together. So for now, once the crankshaft is out, there's nothing else we can really do until those come in the mail. That's with the block. The next thing I can do is lapping the valves in the head and taking the springs out of there, which will probably make a separate video, and I'll get working on that after I'm finished cleaning and painting and removing the crank out of the block. Okie dokie. So we've cleaned everything up pretty much here. Got my mask on. I'm gonna paint the front of the block. Let's see how that looks. I should really tape off that plate there with the indicator. All right, 2 seconds. All right, so we just taped off the VIN number because I feel like that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get to spraying. First pass. That's all you need. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead with a second coat. Basically just want to wait until the glossiness disappears. And then after this we'll wait a good few 15 minutes before we do the last kind of heavy coat on it. So the front of the block is now painted to where I like it to be. Pretty good for just a quick run with some spray paint. Obviously not looking for a fucking show car. And here's the front. I decided to just throw some paint here anyways, just to get in there. I mean, everything looks freaking brand new, even though this is getting replaced and we're gonna have a new water pump there. And the back, I gave it another spray so that we got in here and everything. So everywhere is covered. The only thing left is just cleaning up this area in here. Once we take this off of the stand, and then we're gonna take out the crank. And we've got the head over here. I just started cleaning up some bits because we need a tool coming in so that we can remove the valve springs. I got the valve grinding compound and I have the lapping tool. Just need that last one so you can actually get the valves out. And we'll also be waiting on just the bearings and parts for our block. And then we can start putting that together. Actually, next up, we're probably gonna hone the block. Once I take everything out, we'll hone it, clean it up, measure it, make sure it's good. Right after we do that, we should be receiving our bearings and everything and just start going from there. So we're on a pretty steady track. Everything is going well so far, no major hiccups, and I'm still looking to hopefully have this all running for springtime, maybe end of April, beginning of May is kind of the goal. So that's going to conclude the series on disassembling the block. You got the head right here. Now that everything is out, we'll just need to remove the crank out of here. You'll probably see that in the next one. But after that, it's just honing the block, putting everything back together, lapping the valves in the head. And once everything there is done, we just put her back together, get it bolted in. Just be a few things painted in the engine bay. We're gonna have to wait maybe a few weeks just so I can get the clutch, get the flywheel, get everything. I'm not going to throw $1,500 away right away. It's going to be gradual, you know, but once we have everything ordered, we're going to put it all in and get it back together. A couple little things to do to the actual chassis of the Civic. We're going to get the shift linkage is going to be getting a replacement in the end. We got a little bit of patchwork to do. Little things to keep us busy when we're waiting on car parts. So if there's any of you out there that have been following along, greatly appreciate it. Got lots coming. Next up is more or less the assembly of the engine block. So if that's interesting to you, subscribe, follow me. Got Instagram. I'll throw some updates on Facebook too. It's mostly Instagram, YouTube. And we're going to have a video every week. I'm hoping every Friday, Saturday, going to have a video coming out, as well as some daily or so updates on Instagram for how everything is coming together. And I might explain things a little more in depth on Instagram and show you it more in depth on YouTube, if that makes any sense. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
When you ask me to bring that guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no. If you ask me bring the guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no, no. That shit's too expensive.